Close your eyes, if you wish, and let the world around you soften. Imagine yourself stepping into a time long past, where the air carries the scent of spice-laden markets. The distant call of prayer echoes over minarets, and the rhythm of life pulses through a vast empire. Tonight, we journey to the Ottoman Empire, a realm that stretched across 3 continents, weaving together cultures, faiths, and histories. This is not a tale of grand battles or fleeting triumphs, but a quiet exploration of the lives, stories, and mysteries that shaped this world. Settle in, let your mind drift, and allow the steady cadence of this journey to carry you toward rest. If you were an artisan or weaver, perhaps. And the grand bazaar your mornings were spent at a loom, fingers deftly threading silk or wool. Imagine yourself in a modest courtyard house, its walls of whitewashed stone keeping the interior cool. Here, you knead dough for bread, the repetitive motion soothing, or tend to a small garden of herbs and vegetables. If a dispute arose, perhaps a merchant accused of shortchanging a customer, you might find yourself before a Qadi, a judge whose rulings carried the weight of both law and tradition. Punishments for minor crimes were often fines or public reprimands, designed to restore harmony rather than inflict suffering. But for graver offenses, the consequences could be severe. Thieves or bandits might face imprisonment, or, in rare cases, a public spectacle meant to deter others. Yet, as travelers like Aubrey de la Motrain noted, such harsh punishments were less common than one might expect in cities like Constantinople, where the focus was often on maintaining order rather than instilling fear. The chatter of neighbors filters through open windows, a reminder of the close-knit ties that bound communities together. The call to prayer would sound again, a reminder of the divine rhythm that shaped the empire. You might gather with family, sharing a meal of lentil stew and bread, the conversation soft and familiar. The night air would carry the scent of jasmine from a nearby garden, a fleeting moment of beauty in a world defined by toil and resilience. This was the heartbeat of the Ottoman Empire, not the grandeur of palaces, but the quiet persistence of ordinary lives. Women also played vital roles in the market, selling handmade textiles or preserves, or voices mingling with the hum of the crowd. In rural villages, women worked alongside men in the fields, their hands calloused from harvesting or carrying water from wells that shimmered in the heat. The air in your workshop would be heavy with the scent of dyed fabric, the colors vivid against the dim light filtering through narrow windows. The empire's vast reach meant taxes were a constant presence, collected by officials who rode into villages with ledgers and stern expressions. A farmer might surrender a portion of his grain or livestock, knowing it would feed the sultan's armies or fill the coffers of distant Istanbul. In the cities, artisans faced the pressure of guild regulations, which dictated quality and price, but also offered protection and camaraderie. Disease, too, was a shadow that lingered. Outbreaks of plague or smallpox could sweep through a town, leaving families to mourn in quiet sorrow. The rhythm of life, though steady, was often a struggler, delicate balance of labor, faith, and community. Each piece you crafted was a small act of creation, destined for a merchant stall or distant market across the empire. The bazaar itself was a world of its own. It's a labyrinth of vaulted ceilings and shadowed alleys where the clink of coins and the murmur of haggling filled the air. You might overhear a vendor praising the quality of his saffron, his voice competing with the clatter of copper pots and the bleating of goats being led to slaughter. We'll walk through the daily lives of ordinary people, trace the path of a powerful figure, unravel a lingering mystery, and glimpse the world of the elite. Cheat step, a window into a distant time. As you listen, let the details wrap around you like a soft blanket, guiding you gently toward sleep. Our first step takes us into the heart of the Ottoman world, where the rhythm of daily life unfolded under the vast canopy of an empire that ruled for centuries. Picture yourself in a bustling Ottoman city, perhaps Istanbul in the 16th century, where the Bosphorus glimmers under the sun, its waters alive with the creak of wooden boats and the shouts of merchants. The air is thick with the scent of freshly baked bread, mingling with the sharp tang of olives and the earthy aroma of roasted coffee. Imagine yourself rising with the dawn as the first call to prayer drifts over the rooftops, a melodic summons that marks the start of the day. Most Ottomans were not nobles or warriors, but ordinary people, farmers, artisans, and traders whose lives were tethered to the land and the market. If you were a farmer in the Anatolian countryside, your day began in the cool pre-dawn air, leading oxen to fields of wheat or barley. The soil, dry and unyielding in the summer heat, demanded endless labor. You would guide a wooden plow, the creak of its frame blending with the lowing of animals, while the sun climbed higher, warming the earth until it shimmered. By midday, you might pause under an olive tree, sharing flatbread and cheese with fellow laborers, the meal simple but sustaining. Around you, the streets hum with purpose. Men in long robes and turbans barter in the marketplace, their voices rising and falling like a familiar song. Women, veiled in soft fabrics, move through the crowd, carrying baskets of figs or bundles of woven cloth. Children dart between stalls, their laughter a bright thread in the tapestry of sound. Life here is a constant rhythm, shaped by the cycles of prayer and the demands of survival. In the city, life moves to a different tempo. For women, daily life often centered on the home and community. Yet, life was not without its burdens. Justice in this world was both familiar and distant. The Ottoman legal system, blending Islamic Sharia with the Sultan's decrees, governed daily life. As the day drew to a close, imagine yourself returning home. The streets, now quieter, lit by the soft glow of oil lamps. As we leave this world of farmers, artisans, and families, let us turn our gaze to a figure who rose to shape the empire's destiny. It's a man whose ambition and vision left an indelible mark on its history. Imagine yourself standing on the shores of the Bosphorus. The year is 1520, and a new sultan has just ascended the throne. The air is warm, heavy with the scent of salt and the distant perfume of blooming gardens. As a prince, his early years were spent in the shadow of his father, Sultan Suleiman I, a ruler known for his fierce conquests. Imagine young Suleiman in a governor's palace, surrounded by tutors who filled his mind with poetry, law, and the art of governance. The rhythm of his life soon turned to the drumbeat of conquest. In 1521, he led his armies to Belgrade, a fortress city on the edge of Europe. Picture the Hungarian plain, the ground soft with summer rain, as his army faced a coalition of Christian forces. The battle was swift but devastating, a clash that left the field strewn with the fallen. The empire's justice could be stern, and Suleiman faced painful decisions. Bakit patronized poets, architects, and scholars, filling Istanbul with mosques and schools. Picture the Suleimani Mosque, its domes soaring above the city, its stones warmed by the sun. The call to prayer from its minarets was a sound that anchored the empire, a testament to Suleiman's vision of a world united under his rule. His reign, spanning nearly half a century, was a golden age. Yet it was built on the delicate balance of strength, mercy, and sacrifice. To secure the throne, he ordered the execution of rivals, including his own son Mustafa, a choice that weighed heavily on him. Imagine the quiet of his private chambers, the air heavy with the scent of burning candles, as he grappled with the cost of power. These moments were not celebrated, but endured. A reminder that even a magnificent ruler was bound by the empire's unforgiving demands. Lives were lost in a matter of hours. The cost of empire laid bare. Yet Suleiman did not linger on the destruction. He pressed forward, capturing Buda and setting his sights on Vienna, the heart of the Habsburg domain. The siege of Vienna in 1529 was a bold move, but the city held its walls unyielding under autumn rains. Suleiman withdrew, his ambition checked but not broken. Picture the vast encampment outside its walls, the air thick with the scent of campfires and the clink of armor. The siege was a calculated endeavor, with cannons roaring and sappers tunneling beneath the earth. When Belgrade fell, it opened the door to Europe, a testament to Suleiman's strategic mind. Yet, even in victory, he remained measured, ensuring his soldiers respected the city's inhabitants, a gesture that spoke of his desire for order over chaos. The scent of ink and parchment lingered in his study, where he pored over texts in Persian and Arabic, his quill scratching softly in the lamplight. Imagine the Mediterranean sun glinting off the waves as Ottoman ships sailed toward the island, sails billowing like clouds. The siege was long, the air heavy with dust and the distant cries of battle. Imagine the harem, not as a place of scandal, but as a center of influence, where his mother, harem, wielded subtle power. Harem, once a captive named Roxolana, became his trusted confidant, her letters to him filled with poetry and counsel. The scent of rosewater lingered in her chambers, where she planned alliances and nurtured her son's futures. Suleiman's love for her was profound, breaking tradition by marrying her. Decision that rippled through the court like a stone in a still pond. When Rhodes surrendered, Suleiman allowed the knights to leave with honor, a decision that tempered strength with mercy. This balance defined him a ruler who could conquer but sought to build, not destroy. Even as a youth, he was marked by a quiet intensity, his eyes sharp with curiosity and resolve. The empire demanded much of its princes, and Suleiman learned early to navigate the intricate dance of loyalty and ambition. The city of Istanbul hums with anticipation, its minarets piercing the sky like silent sentinels. This is the moment when Suleiman, later called the Magnificent, steps into the heart of the Ottoman Empire, a young man whose reign would stretch across decades and continents. His story is one of ambition, wisdom, and the delicate balance of power woven into the fabric of an empire at its zenith. Let us walk through his life, step by step, as the rhythm of his choices shapes the world around you. Suleiman was born in 1494 in Trabzon, coastal city where the Black Sea's waves lap against rugged cliffs. At the age of 26, Suleiman became sultan, inheriting an empire that sprawled from the Danube to the Nile. Picture him in the Topkapi Palace, its courtyards alive with the rustle of silk robes and the murmur of advisors. The weight of rule settled upon him, yet he carried it with a steady hand. His first acts were not of conquest, but of justice. He released prisoners held unjustly by his father, earning the title of Kanuni, the lawgiver among his people. Imagine the relief of families reunited, their voices soft with gratitude in the markets and mosques. Suleiman's laws aimed to bring order, ensuring fair taxes and protecting the diverse peoples of his realm, from Muslims to Christians to Jews. But Suleiman's reign was not defined by law alone. His ambitions stretched further to the island of Rhodes in 1522, where the Knights of St. John held a fortified stronghold. Suleiman's greatest test came at the Battle of 1526, a turning point that reshaped Europe. Beyond the battlefield, Suleiman's life was shaped by the palace and its intricate politics. Yet, the life of a sultan was not without shadows. Suleiman's legacy was not only in conquest or law, but in culture. As we step away from Suleiman's story, let us turn to a quieter corner of the Ottoman world, where mysteries linger in the shadows of history, waiting to be explored. Imagine yourself standing before the heavy wooden gates of the Topkapi Palace, the heart of Istanbul, where the air is cool and fragrant with the scent of blooming jasmine carried on a late afternoon breeze. Beyond these gates lies a world shrouded in mystery, the Ottoman harem, a place that has captured imaginations for centuries. Imagine yourself as a young woman arriving from distant lands, perhaps a captive from the Balkans or the Caucasus, brought to serve in the harem. Excavations in the Topkapi Palace have uncovered delicate artifacts, glass perfume bottles, intricately carved combs, and fragments of silk that speak to the daily lives of its inhabitants. Picture holding one of these bottles, its surface cool and smooth, once filled with scents that perfumed a concubine's robes. These objects, preserved in the dust of centuries, reveal a world of refinement and routine, where beauty was both a craft and a currency. Women from across the Ottoman lands, Georgians, Circassians, Greeks, and more, brought their languages, songs, and traditions. European travelers, like the Venetian diplomat Ottaviano Bon, described it as a shadowy power behind the throne. Yet, their accounts were often tinged with exaggeration. As we step away from its hidden corridors, let us turn our gaze to the broader Ottoman world, where the lives of the elite and the humble intertwined, revealing the contrasts that defined this empire. Modern historians, sifting through palace records, suggest the harem was less a den of intrigue and more a structured institution, its women educated and strategic. Still, questions remain: how much did figures like the valid sultan shape imperial policy? Archaeological finds, such as sealed letters and personal seals, hint at their active role. But the full story remains just out of reach, like a shadow moving behind a lattice screen. Picture a quiet evening where the notes of a lute floated through the courtyard, accompanied by voices singing in languages that blended into a harmonious whole. These women wove their heritage into the empire's fabric, creating textiles and poetry that carried echoes of distant homes. The harem was a place of creation, where calligraphy and embroidery flourished, each piece a testament to the skill and resilience of its maker. The harem's architecture, too, tells a story. Narrow passageways and hidden doors allowed discreet movement, while latticed windows permitted women to observe the world without being seen, a reminder of their seclusion, yet also their presence at the heart of power. Your days would begin with instruction, learning the Ottoman language, music, or embroidery. The rhythm of your tasks blending with the soft clink of sewing needles and the rustle of fabric. Imagine her seated in a chamber adorned with blue Iznik tiles, their patterns swirling like waves as she issued commands with a quiet nod. Rivalries simmered beneath the surface as mothers vied to secure their sons' paths to the throne. The practice of fratricide, where a new sultan might eliminate his brothers to prevent rebellion, cast a heavy pall. Imagine the tension in the air, the soft rustle of robes as women whispered in corners, their words careful but laden with purpose. When such orders were carried out, lives were quietly extinguished, the palace absorbing the loss in its endless rhythm. These moments were not dwelled upon in public, but they shaped the harem's complex dynamics, a world where loyalty and ambition danced a delicate balance. Her influence extended beyond the harem, shaping imperial decisions and even the succession of the throne. Women like Harem Sultan, Suleiman's beloved wife, broke tradition by rising from concubine to legal wife, her letters to the sultan filled with poetry and political insight. The scent of ink and parchment would have lingered in her chambers, where she penned words that swayed an empire. The harem was a school of sorts, where women were trained not only in domestic arts, but in the subtleties of court politics. For some, it was a path to influence, as the sultan's favor could elevate a concubine to a position of power, her voice carrying weight in matters of state, not merely a private residence, but a complex institution. The harem was a realm of influence, intrigue, and hidden lives. Tonight, we unravel its secrets, exploring the culture and archaeology of this enigmatic space, not with the drama of legend, but with the quiet curiosity of those seeking to understand. Let the rhythm of this exploration guide you as we step into a world where power whispered through silk curtains and stone corridors. The word harem conjures images of opulence and seclusion, but its reality was far more intricate. Picture a sprawling complex within the palace, quaint, its rooms arranged around shaded courtyards where fountains bubbled softly, their sound a constant murmur against the hum of daily life. The harem was home to the sultan's mother, wives, concubines, and children, as well as a host of servants and eunuchs who ensured its smooth operation. The air was often heavy with the scent of rosewater and incense used to perfume chambers and signal status. Silk tapestries adorned the walls, their intricate patterns catching the light of oil lamps, while tiled floors gleamed underfoot, cool even in the summer heat. This was not a prison, as some outsiders imagined, but a tightly regulated community. Archaeological discoveries have helped peel back the layers of the harem's mystery. The harem was ruled by the valid sultan, the sultan's mother, whose authority was unmatched within its walls. Yet, the harem was not without its shadows. Culturally, the harem was a melting pot, reflecting the empire's diversity. One lingering mystery is the true extent of the harem's influence. The harem's legacy is one of a paradoxic place of confinement and power, tradition and transformation. Imagine yourself standing at the edge of a grand courtyard in Istanbul, the Topkapi Palace rising before you, its domes and arches catching the golden light of a setting sun. The air carries the faint scent of myrrh from incense burners, mingling with the distant hum of the city beyond. The morning air is cool, scented with the bloom of roses in a private garden where fountains murmur softly. Servants move silently, laying out trays of honeyed pastries and dark, aromatic coffee, the clink of porcelain a quiet prelude to the day. Picture a grand feast in a pasha's hall, the tables laden with platters of lamb roasted with herbs, rice flecked with saffron, and sweets glistening with syrup. Musicians play softly, their lutes and drums creating a soothing backdrop as guests exchange measured conversation. These gatherings were not merely for pleasure, but for forging alliances, securing loyalty, or negotiating marriages that would bind families across the empire. A thief in the marketplace might be fined or briefly imprisoned, the caddy's ruling delivered in the open courtyard of a mosque. The call to prayer, echoing 5 times a day, was a shared rhythm, uniting pasha and peasant in moments of reflection. Mosques, with their cool marble interiors and soaring domes, were spaces where the elite and the common mingled, their prayers rising together. Festivals, too, bridged the divide. Imagine the streets of Istanbul during Eid, live with the scent of sweets and the sound of laughter, as both rich and poor joined in celebration. These moments of unity, fleeting but profound, wove the empire's diverse peoples into a single tapestry. For graver crimes, such as rebellion, the consequences could be harsher. Though public displays of punishment were carefully measured to maintain order rather than incite fear, the empire's legal system sought balance, ensuring that justice, while stern, did not disrupt the rhythm of daily life. Yet, for the ordinary Ottoman, the threat of disease or famine loomed larger than the sultan's wrath. It's a constant shadow over their toil. The air would be warm with the scent of spices, the clink of silver goblets, a reminder of the wealth that underpinned this world. Yet, even here, the empire's diversity was evident. Guests might speak Turkish, Arabic, or Greek, their voices blending like the threads of a tapestry. The pacha's robes are heavy with embroidery, each thread a mark of status, and his turban is adorned with a jeweled pin, glinting in the light. As you rest now, imagine yourself drifting above its lands. The minarets of Istanbul fading into the horizon, the Bosphorus shimmering under a crescent moon. The lives we've explored, those of farmers toiling in the sun, a sultan shaping history, women weaving influence in the harem, and nobles balancing power and pulse together in the rhythm of an empire that endured for centuries. Their struggles and triumphs, their joys and sorrows, are now echoes carried on the wind of time. Kate, as you lie in the comfort of the present, surrounded by the soft hum of your own world, you can let these stories fade, their weight lifting like mist. The past has spoken, and now it invites you to rest, to drift into the quiet embrace of sleep, where the rhythm of history gives way to the peace of the moment, while the pacha dines on delicacies. A farmer in Anatolia shares a simple meal of bread and lentils, the air in his modest home thick with the scent of wood smoke. His hands are rough from plowing fields, his life dictated by the seasons and the tax collector's visits. The villager's home, a single-story structure of mud brick or stone, offers little of the pacha's comfort. Yet it is filled with the warmth of family, their voices mingling in quiet conversation, where the elite enjoy the protection of guards and stone walls. The commoner faces the uncertainties of banditry or drought. His resilience, a quiet counterpoint to the pasha's privilege. His mornings are spent in council, reviewing reports from distant provinces or issuing orders to scribes, their quills scratching in the stillness. Their status came with obligations to the sultan, to the empire, and to the intricate web of court politics. A pasha's misstep could lead to exile or worse, his wealth and titles stripped away. Imagine the tension in a governor's heart as he awaits a summons from Istanbul, the air heavy with the scent of wax from sealed imperial decrees. Punishments for the elite were often swift and severe, a reminder of the sultan's absolute authority. Some faced confiscation of their estates, others banishment to distant provinces, where the wind carried the dust of unfamiliar lands. In rare cases, a silken cord delivered by a mute messenger signaled the end, a quiet but final judgment carried out in the privacy of one's home. The weight of governance rests on his shoulders, yet it is cushioned by wealth and influence. Here, in the heart of the Ottoman Empire, the lives of the elite unfold in a world apart from the farmers and artisans we met earlier, yet their existence is intricately tied to the rhythms of the broader society, a delicate dance of privilege and responsibility. Let us step into this world, exploring the lives of the Ottoman elite, their customs, and the stark contrasts with the daily struggles of the common people, all while the empire's heartbeat pulses steadily around you. Picture the life of a high-ranking pasha, a governor or military commander, whose days begin in a stately konak, a mansion of polished wood and stone. For the women of the elite, life is both luxurious and constrained. Imagine a noblewoman in her private chambers, surrounded by silk cushions and intricate carpets, the air fragrant with Adarose roses. Her day might involve overseeing the household, directing servants in the preparation of feasts, or the care of her children. She might embroider intricate patterns, her needle moving in a steady rhythm, or host gatherings of other women, where poetry and music fill the air with a gentle cadence. Yet, her world is bounded by custom, her movements veiled and her influence often exerted through intermediaries. Unlike the women of the harem, who could rise to power, most elite women wielded authority within the confines of family and tradition. The elite's social world revolved around ceremony and display. Contrast this with the life of a common villager, whose days we explored earlier. The elite were not untouched by hardship, though. The common people, too, faced justice, but it was often more public. Religion bound these worlds together, from the humblest village to the grandest palace. As we leave the world of the elite and their contrasts with the common folk, let us draw this journey to a close, reflecting on the Ottoman Empire's vast and intricate legacy. The Ottoman Empire, with its sprawling cities and quiet villages, its palaces and fields, was a world of contrasts and connections.